The alarm on my scanner screamed before I even touched the object, and my hands froze in the air above it. I am Vorin, a salvage inspector on the drifting research vessel Halvan Spire. My job is simple: find human wreckage, catalog it, mark it safe or unsafe, and move on. I have done this for 11 cycles. I have opened human vaults filled with rusted metal, broken glass, and strange paper books. None of it ever scared me. Until today. We found the human colony pod half buried in ice on a dead moon. The colony itself was gone, abandoned in a hurry, but one small room survived. A child's room. Bright colors on the walls, soft toys stacked on shelves, small drawings pinned to a broken door. My crewmate Dara laughed when she saw it. She said humans were strange creatures who wasted resources on comfort even during war. I did not laugh. Something about the quiet of that room made my skin feel tight. On the lowest shelf sat a toy. It was small, shaped like a round drum with a single red button on top, and a painted smiling face on the side. A tag on the bottom read, in human letters, "Property of Ellie Marsh, do not lose me." Dara picked it up and turned it in her hands like it was nothing. "Just a toy," she said. "Something a child would carry to bed." My scanner disagreed. The first reading came back strange. Not dangerous, just strange. A tight core sat inside the shell, wrapped in layers of shielding far too advanced for a child's plaything. I asked Dara to put it down. She rolled her eyes at me and said I was too careful, that I saw threats in everything, because I grew up on a war world. Maybe she was right, but I had learned one thing from growing up on a war world. When something feels wrong, it usually is. I ran a deeper scan. The numbers on my screen did not make sense at first. Radiation levels low, but rising the moment the scanner touched the shell. Internal temperature stable, but only because something inside was actively holding it stable. That is not how toys work. Toys do not regulate themselves. Toys do not fight to stay calm. I called Captain Ivan Rask to the room. He is not a nervous man. He has faced pirate raids and reactor breaches without blinking. But when he looked at my readings, his face changed color, and that alone told me more than any scanner could. He ordered everyone out except me and him. Dara protested, said it was just a child's toy, but she left when he raised his voice. The door sealed behind her. Now it was just the two of us, the toy, and a silence so heavy I could hear my own heartbeat. Ivan asked me to run the readings again, slower this time, checking every layer. I did. What I found made my hands shake for the first time in my career. Under the painted smiling face was a second shell, thinner than the first, made of a metal our scanners had never cataloged before. Under that shell was a core, small enough to fit in my palm, but dense enough to weigh more than the entire toy should. And wrapped around that core, in tight coils, was something our systems finally identified with a warning so loud it hurt my ears. Class-5 nuclear device, active, contained, stable, for now. I stared at the screen, then at the toy still sitting harmless and smiling on the table between us. A single red button on top, the kind of button a child would press without thinking, the way children press every button they find, and even ask the only question that mattered. Why would a species build a weapon like this and give it to a child? I did not have an answer, not yet. We searched the wrecked colony database for anything about Ellie Marsh, the name on the tag. It took time, since half the files were damaged, but we found a fragment of a message, recorded by a woman who called herself Grace Marsh. Her voice was calm, almost gentle, even though the words chilled me. She said the colony was under threat from raiders, who had already destroyed 2 other settlements nearby. She said the adults built a last line of defense into every child's favorite toy, disguised so well that no enemy scanner would think twice about it. She said the toy could only be activated by a specific pattern, a lullaby her daughter knew by heart, so that no stranger could trigger it by accident. She said it broke her heart to build a weapon into her child's bedtime companion, but she would rather her daughter carry protection than carry fear. I looked at Ivan. He looked at me. Neither of us said anything for a long moment. The device Grace Marsh had built was never meant to hurt her daughter. It was meant to protect her, wrapped in something soft enough that a child would want to keep it close. A shield disguised as comfort. A weapon disguised as love. But now the daughter was gone, the colony was gone, and the toy sat alone in our hands, still active, still stable, still waiting for a trigger we did not understand. Ivan ordered the ship sealed into lockdown. No one else could enter the room. He wanted the device moved to a containment chamber, but the moment we lifted it from the shelf, the reading spiked. Not dangerous yet, but climbing. The toy seemed to know it was being moved away from where it belonged. We carried it slowly, step by step, through corridors that suddenly felt too narrow and too quiet. Every step made the numbers on my scanner tick upward. Sweat gathered on my skin even though the ship's temperature had not changed. I kept thinking about the smiling painted face, how gentle it looked, how it did not match the storm hidden underneath. We reached the containment chamber and set the toy down inside a shielded case. The readings slowed, then steadied, then finally settled back to their original quiet hum. I let out a breath I did not know I was holding, but steady was not the same as safe. The device was still armed, still capable of ending our ship in an instant if triggered the wrong way. And we had no lullaby, no pattern, no key to shut it down safely. Ivan called for our historian, a quiet woman named Lyra, who had spent years studying human culture. She listened to the recording of Grace Marsh's voice, then asked to hear it again, and then a third time. Her expression grew more serious with each replay. She told us humans often build multiple failsafes into important things, especially anything connected to a child. She believed there might be a second recording, something meant only for family, hidden somewhere in the colony's private archives rather than the public logs. We searched again, deeper this time, past broken files and corrupted folders, until we found it. A short, private message, recorded only days before the colony fell silent. Grace Marsh's voice again, softer this time, almost a whisper. She sang 4 lines to her daughter, a simple bedtime tune about a duck that fell asleep on a river until the sun came up. Nothing more. Just an ordinary lullaby that any parent might sing. But at the end of the recording, Grace said one thing that made the room go cold. She said, "If the wrong hands ever find this toy, sing the song backward, and it will fall silent forever." I looked at Ivan. He looked at Lyra. None of us breathed. We approached the containment case again, and this time, I sang the 4 lines in reverse, my voice shaking on every word, my hands hovering over the controls in case I needed to seal the chamber instantly. The readings on my scanner rose sharply for one terrifying second, then dropped all at once, falling to 0, then staying there. The device had gone silent, truly silent. No more hum, no more hidden heartbeat inside the shell. Just an ordinary toy again, smiling painted face and all. I sat down right there on the floor, my legs no longer willing to hold me. Wiven did the same beside me. Lyra stood quietly, staring at the toy with something close to respect in her eyes. Later, back in my quarters, I could not stop thinking about Grace Marsh. She was not a soldier. She was not a weapons engineer. She was simply a mother, trying to protect her daughter in a universe that gave her no other choice. And she did it by turning comfort into defense, love into a shield, without ever telling her child what she was truly carrying. I used to think humans were fragile because they lived short lives and built simple things. I do not think that anymore. I think humans are dangerous in a way no other species I have studied comes close to matching, not because of their weapons, but because of how they hide them, inside kindness, inside bedtime songs, inside a smiling toy meant to be hugged at night. Dara asked me the next day what other toys we might find if we kept searching human ruins. I did not answer her right away. I only looked toward the containment chamber where the silent toy still sat, and I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature of the ship. Because if one mother could do this for her child, I wondered quietly what an entire species of mothers, fathers, and engineers might have hidden across 1,000 other worlds, waiting patiently inside toys, inside songs, inside things too gentle for anyone to suspect. And for the first time in my career, I understood why some crews refused to touch anything human at all.